All right. So Rob, we've talked about recovery, right? And that's all about where it's at, right? Give us some, what are the insights that you see, right? What are the important elements, that you guys and the environments that your technology is working in, and the kinds of things that you're doing in order to, make that effective and, try to help mitigate the cost of these ransomware attacks.
So I think it's super important. Some people listening might know what some of these costs are, but I'm just going to take you through at a high level. But a smart recovery is one where you can trust that the data that you're recovering is in fact recoverable. You curate a recovery with the data that you know to be clean, and you can recover quickly. We just talked about that, right? And minimizing the impact on the organization and the customers. But without a smart recovery, or curated recovery, whatever your term that you want to use for it, it might not be over even if you end up paying the ransom. So this is for those of you who may not be considering looking at our solution. Let me try and break it down just a little bit. So there is the cost of the ransom, and basically the threat actors are saying cash, check, or crypto, right? How are you going to get out of this? The easy way is to just go ahead and pay the ransom. However, there's a lot of costs that come into account that don't include the ransom. Did they give you the right encryption keys? Did the encryption keys unlock everything? Probably the answer is no. Even after a ransom is paid, there is a significant portion of work to be done to recover more data. So financially, I think it's Gartner analyst Paul Furtado who said that the cost of an attack is usually 10x the cost of the ransom, whether it comes from downtime, lost data, and then even reputational damage. So if you're down for a few days, take for instance MGM, take for instance an airline that may be hit, you're going to be coming up against reputational costs. Other analysts state that the average cost of an attack is about 5 million, but we've seen attacks grow north of even 100 million, and hundreds of thousands even for smaller organizations. Some attacks get measured in lives. If a healthcare system was impacted, there was one, I think it was the Sandworm organization, where they had impacted medical records, and the cost of life has not really been calculated from that particular attack. And then backups. Backups are now a target. And a library system in the UK was hit and took the better part of 6 months to come back with a recovery. And they still, to this day, don't know what data they've lost 100%. They have no idea if they were able to recover to a point, and do not have an accurate number of how much data they in fact lost during that attack. So without a plan like Infinidat has, your backups are going to cost you, say, 90%, 92% of attacks that are being targeted are successful within the backups. So again, is it worth the reputational risk? Letters from vendors, leaked customer info, down patient records, etc. Is it worth that cost to put your company at risk if you do not have a smart recovery plan in place? So I think the reputational costs could go well north of all those physical costs that we've kind of talked about as well.
Yeah, the areas around the backup targeting, right, are kind of they're well documented now. And again, kind of to the point I was starting to make earlier, is that recovery strategy has to take all of those elements into consideration. And that's why with us, focusing on primary is so important, and being able to recover quickly from a primary data protection methodology that again thinks about cyber as the primary reason you have to recover.
Yeah,
right?
agreed.
That's that recovery focused mentality and methodology that everything else has to support.
Agreed.